everyone, I'm here today to do a book review about a graphic novel that I check out from the library. But first, I want to do two housekeeping themes. The first one is, I haven't taken off my Halloween decorations yet. And the second one, which is the important one, is that now I have an Instagram account for this channel. The Instagram handle is @analphabetic, like the same name of the channel, and if you want to follow me there, that will be lovely. That being said, I want to introduce the book that I'm going to talk about today, and that is Locke Key by Joe Hill, who did the script, and Gabriel Rodriguez, who did the drawings. This is supposed to be a horror graphic novel, and it comes in two huge volumes in Spain. As you can see, they're huge. I think that in the English version there's 3 omnibuses of this graphic novel. First, I want to summarize quickly and without spoilers the plot. The first thing that happens is that the father gets murdered by a psychopath, and then the rest of the family, his wife and his 3 children, decide to move from the west coast to the east coast, to the father's childhood home in a town called Lovecraft. I know, subtle reference. So this house is a very cool building, kind of like very gothic looking, and is very particular because it's filled with a kind of magic. It's filled with keys that let their owner do a bunch of wonderful stuff, and that's the main plot. There are of course other subplots, and they have to learn to live with their trauma and their grief and adapt to their new life, and there's more characters, but I don't want to say anything that isn't in the first 50 pages of the book, so that this counts as a spoiler-free review. Now that we're done with the plot, let's move into my thoughts and opinions on the graphic novel. I gave both volumes 3 stars because I enjoy reading them and I had a great time doing so, but I still have a lot of issues with this comic book. I thought it would be nice to first talk about the things I enjoy about them and then move on to my issues with them. I had a nice time reading them because they are quite easy to read and they are quite a page turner. I thought they were gonna be more like a horror, thriller, creepy stuff, but in the end they turned out to be more like a mystery adventure story. So I really wanted to know what happened next. So I kept reading and I enjoyed myself while doing so. Apart from being an enjoyable, easy, quick read for me, there were some very creative, innovative and unique elements in the story that I enjoy. And one of them is the key that opens heads, and I mentioned this one because it's not a spoiler since it is an introduction to these volumes. So yeah, I wash my hands of that. It's not a spoiler, it's an introduction, and it's pretty cool. As well, some of the designs of the things in here are super duper cool, including all the stuff that is related to that key that opens heads, because that's my favorite part of the book actually, and I thought it was so unique and so interestingly drawn, and the design was so cool. But now that I'm talking about design and stuff, one of the biggest complaints I have about these graphic novels is the drawing style. It looks awful. Not the background. The backgrounds are really nice and you can see that the artist has a lot of skill. But the people look so weird, and not even in a good way. They are cartoony, but not in a nice way, and they look very creepy or and horrible without being horrific. I don't know, let me show you. Like, I don't know if you're gonna be I don't know if you're gonna be able to see them properly, but they have very cartoony faces, and especially the eyes. I don't know if you could see properly in that shot, but also the eyes are super weird. They are so creepy and cartoony, but not in a good way. I was very distracted by the art style. And also I want to mention, because I didn't notice when I read, but I didn't quite process until I read it in another review, and it's that the female characters all kind of look the same. There's nothing very distinct about their faces. They are thin and have nice bodies and stuff, and even like, for example, there's a character that one of the characteristics that it's supposed to have is that she's kind of ugly, because it's mentioned by several characters, but since all look the same, she looks just as hot as the hot girl, and I don't know what's up with that, because the male characters have very different faces, very unique, very defined features, and even their bodies, like there's a lot of like changing their heights and shapes and how bulky they are, but the girls didn't, and that's very weird. Truly, that's pretty weird. To finish talking about the art style and the drawings and the designs, I want to mention that this is not really a criticism per se, but I also find it very distracting, and is that most of the fashion, or almost all the fashion, hairstyle, clothes in this comic look from the early 2000s, but they were written between 2008 and 2012, and they take place in that time because they mention stuff like PlayStation 3 and the mobile phones look like the ones from that time. It's just that all the clothes and the fashion look from 6 to 8 years earlier of what it should be. And I don't know, that was weird. Like all the soul patches, there's like 2 soul patches in the book. You say, oh my god, that's so 2003. What are they doing in 2010 or whatever year this is supposed to take place in? Which I know is not that time because there's stuff or technology stuff from way after the early 2000s. And you might say that a lot of people don't follow fashion and they just have a temporal style, or they don't care about what is fashion about that time. But since like half of the main characters are actually teenagers, I feel like it's very weird, because if someone wants to be cool and follow the trends, it's teenagers. They love to be fashionable. Why aren't they in this town? Mysteries. So the next criticism I have to make to this story is that it was very tropey. There were a lot of cliches, a lot of tropes, a lot of conventional elements of this kind of story showing there. And I kept reading because I was very interested in knowing what happened next, because I thought there was going to be a huge plot twist or a sudden turn of events, and that the ending was gonna be super unconventional and some crazy shit was going to happen, but it never did. The ending is one of the most conventional endings ever. And that got me a little bit frustrated. It was very disappointing because they praised the imagination of the authors in the introduction, and yeah, there were a couple elements that were super cool and unique, but the story wasn't. The story was something that you've seen in movies or in other books before, and yeah, I was just expecting something else to happen, and it didn't, and yeah, it was sad. And it was especially sad because this graphic novel is huge. It's nearly 900 or maybe even close to 1000 pages long, which is a lot. And honestly, it could have been shorter. In fact, it should have been shorter than it is. Because some parts just drag. And there, I say it. Like, a lot of parts here shouldn't be there because they drag. They don't move the plot forward, or if they move the plot forward, they don't do it fast enough. They take the longest way possible without adding anything creative or new to the way the story is told. And I thought that this graphic novel could have been maybe a third shorter or even half the length, telling the same stuff, and will have been much better because you wouldn't feel you have wasted time to get to nothing new. Yeah. So yeah, that was everything that I had to say about this graphic novel. And I know I made a lot of criticisms, but I want to say it's not a bad graphic novel. I still enjoyed reading it. I just had some wishes that it would have been different in some ways. But maybe you will really enjoy it because it has amazing reviews. It has amazing ratings in Goodreads. A lot of people really love this graphic novel, including my local librarian, because he's a comic freak and comic nerd. He's a comic nerd and he recommended me this one for Halloween. So yeah, if you're remotely interested in Joe Hill, horror, graphic novels, or even this drawing style, go check it out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're having a terrific day, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!